Hello friends, this is your host from the channel, and in this episode we'll talk about ancient U.S. sports of 1889. As always, timestamps are in the description. In 1889, the United States was not yet a modern industrialized country. The U.S. economy was still agrarian, and people spent most of their free time hunting, fishing, and playing outside games. Although many of these pastimes were seen by some as uncouth or uncivilized, they were quintessentially American. In the 1800s, Americans took pride in their rugged individualism and self-reliance, and that was reflected in the sports they played. Unlike European sports, which often had strict rules and highly skilled players, American sports were more often played with simple rules and anyone could participate. This led to a great deal of innovation in the world of American sports in the 1800s as people experimented with new ways to play the games they loved. Many of these new games quickly gained popularity and became part of the fabric of American life. Others, however, were quickly forgotten, and today we remember them only as relics of a bygone era. Let's now take a closer look at 5 of these ancient U.S. sports. No, 1 baseball. If there's one sport that could be called the national pastime of the United States, it's baseball. The earliest forms of the game can be traced back to the 1700s when European settlers in America began playing a game called rounders. This was an extremely simple game with very few rules. All you needed was a ball, a bat, and some people to play with. The object of the game was to hit a ball thrown by one player and run around a series of bases while the other players tried to throw the ball to the base before you could get there. Over time, this game evolved into what we know today as baseball. By the 1840s, there were several different versions of baseball being played in the United States. However, in 1845, Alexander Cartwright, a member of the Knickerbocker Baseball Club in New York, proposed a set of rules that would standardize the game. These rules were adopted by the National Association of Baseball Players, or NABBP, in 1846 and formed the basis for the game until the formation of Major League Baseball in 1903. Under the original rules, teams consisted of 9 players who took turns batting and fielding. The team that scored the most runs by hitting the ball and running around the bases won the game. While baseball has changed a lot since 1889, the basic premise of the game remains the same. Hit the ball and run to first base before the defense can get the ball there. Number 2, horse racing. Horse racing is another popular sport that has been around for centuries. The first recorded instance of horse racing in the United States took place at Belmont Park in New York on May 28, 1866. The race was between 2 horses named Lexington and Vandal, and it was won by Lexington in a time of 1 minute, 45 seconds. Today, horse racing is still going strong. There are dozens of racetracks across the country where people go to watch races and bet on their favorite horses. Some of the most famous races in the world are held in the United States, such as the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes, and the Belmont Stakes. The sport has also produced some of the most famous names in racing history, such as Man O' War, Secretariat, and Sibiscoot. While horse racing was once a popular spectator sport, it has declined in popularity in recent years. Still, it remains one of the most popular sports in the United States. No, 3, boxing. Boxing is a combat sport that consists of 2 people hitting each other as hard as they can until one of them can't get up anymore. It's obviously a very violent sport, but that's part of what makes it so exciting to watch. Some people love watching 2 humans go toe-to-toe and slug it out in the ring. In the United States, boxing was introduced to the country by European immigrants. The first known boxing match in the United States took place in New York City in 1829. Since then, the sport has grown in popularity, and today there are many professional boxers from the United States. One of the most famous American boxers is Muhammad Ali. Ali was not only a great boxer, but he was also a great showman. He was known for his quick wit and his ability to trash-talk his opponents before a fight. This helped to promote the fights and make them more popular. Unfortunately, Ali's career was cut short when he was drafted into the military during the Vietnam War. After serving in the military, Ali returned to boxing and won the heavyweight championship again. but he never quite regained his former status as the top boxer in the world. No for cricket. Cricket is a bat and ball game played between two teams of 11 players each. The game is played on a field with a central area surrounded by a circular boundary. The objective of the game is to score more runs than the opposing team. Runs are scored by hitting the ball and running between the wickets, which are two wooden stakes placed 22 yards apart. The team that scores the most runs wins the match. The sport originated in England and spread to other parts of the British Empire, including North America. The first written record of cricket in the United States dates to 1709. At that time, it was simply called cricket. The first known cricket club in the United States was formed in 1710. During the 18th century, cricket was primarily played by wealthy Englishmen who had come to America for a better life. The first intercolonial cricket match was played in 1752 between Virginia and Massachusetts Bay. In the early days, cricket was not very popular in America. This was due to a number of factors. First of all, there were already a number of other popular sports in America at the time, such as baseball and football. Additionally, cricket was seen as a game for the rich and was not very accessible to the average person. Despite these obstacles, cricket did have a small but loyal following in the United States. No. 5. Tennis. Tennis is another sport that has been around for centuries. The game is thought to have originated in France in the 12th century. It then spread to other parts of Europe, including England, where it was played on the courts of kings and queens. The first tennis club was established in 1827 in the United States. The sport was introduced by French and British immigrants. The first tennis court in the United States was built in Newport, Rhode Island in 1877. Since then, the sport has grown in popularity, and today there are many professional tennis players from the United States. Some of the most famous American tennis players include John McEnroe and Andre Agassi. In the late 19th century, tennis was mostly a summertime activity. This was because the courts were made of grass and the game could not be played in the wintertime. However, with the invention of indoor tennis courts, the game could be played year-round. This led to the development of hard courts and the game of tennis as we know it today. The United States has a long and rich sporting tradition dating back to the early days of the country. From the simple games played by Native Americans to the professional sports we see today, Americans have always loved their sports. These ancient U.S. sports are just a small sampling of the many games that have been played in the United States over the years. Each sport is unique and reflects the American love of competition in the outdoors. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment below. See you next time.